So today's lesson, we're going to be looking at standard form. In standard form, you've seen before, and whenever we've had it in standard form, it's been written as a literal equation, and our goal was to always rewrite it so that y was all by itself. So basically, we were taking it from standard form and putting it into slope-intercept form, and you just didn't know those terminology. So that's what we were doing back in Unit 2, and I kept saying, you'll understand why as we get on later. So slope-intercept form, awesome form. Slope-intercept form, very, very useful if we are wanting to find the y-intercept, the slope. But standard form also is a different type of form that has its own advantages and disadvantages. So first, let's just make sure we understand what standard form means. So for standard form, my a value has to be a whole number. So that means no fractions, no decimals. It's also not negative. And then my b and c values are integers. Again, no decimals, no fractions, but they can be negatives. The x-intercept, as you just discovered when you were doing the amplify, is always the constant divided by the coefficient of x. So c over a. The y-intercept is always the constant divided by the coefficient of y, so c over b. And the slope, if you think about it, we would subtract ax to get it to the other side, so it's going to become its opposite. And then to isolate y, we would always divide by the b value. So if I don't want to rewrite the whole thing, I can also just do slope as opposite of a over b. Okay, these are going to be very, very helpful as we move throughout this lesson. So let's go ahead and open it up and try some. So first, I can find the x and y intercept from a graph. That always works. But I can also find the x and y intercepts from an equation. And to find the x-intercept, I'm just going to take my constant, which is 8, and I'm going to divide by the, right now, first it's saying identify A, B, and C. So A is 3, B is 4, and C is 8. Okay, so to find the x-intercept, I'm just going to take the constant divided by the coefficient of x. So 8/3. And to find the y-intercept, I'm going to take the constant and divide by the coefficient. And 8 divided by 4 is 2. Okay, what if I forgot this shortcut? How else could I have done it? Well, to find the x-intercept, I could literally just plug in a 0 for y and then solve this equation. And then I could have plugged in a 0 for x and solved the equation. And so that's always going to work. But again, if I remember the shortcuts, I don't have to do all of that extra work. So then what's the advantage of finding the intercepts rather than just looking at the graph? And the advantage is equations allow us to find exact location when the intercepts aren't integers. So if they're integers, looking at a graph is super easy. I can be accurate. But if they're not integer values, then finding it from the equation, whether we're plugging in 0 or we're using our shortcut, that allows us to find the exact without having to estimate where we think it's going to be. Okay, we are going to do the same thing, and we are going to graph using our x and y intercepts. So again, I am going to go ahead and I'm going to use the shortcut. So the x-intercept is c over a. So the x-intercept is at 6. So I'm going to go put a dot at 6 on the x-axis. And the y-intercept is c over b. And so that would be 3. So I'm going to put, and then from there I would grab a ruler and draw a line through those 2 points. And I've gone ahead and I have graphed my line using the x and y intercepts. So that is really the benefit to standard form. Super fast and easy to locate the x-intercept, actually easiest way to locate the x-intercept. Now, I'm going to agree that slope-intercept form, the y-intercept is already there for you. You don't even have to do a quick division problem, but finding the y-intercept from standard form is also not that difficult. It's just a quick division problem. Okay, last part of today's notes are what I love to refer to as equation manipulation. So I've been given an equation in one form. I need to get it to another form. And we have to become experts at this. You are going to need this this concept, be able to be a master of it for this chapter, but also for every math class you're ever going to take. So right now, my equation is written in slope-intercept form. And I need to get it to standard form. And I remember that standard form is ax plus by equals c. And I know that there's no fractions. No decimals. A is a whole number. B and C are integers. So I'm just going through my checklist so I know what has to happen. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do, as soon as I notice that there is a fraction in this problem, I'm going to go ahead and clear the fraction right away. So 4y equals negative 3x plus 4. Okay, so now I've got rid of the no fraction part. I need to get x and y on the same side. One option is to move y to the right-hand side, move the constant to the left-hand side. That is one option. The other option is just to move the x to the left-hand side, leave y, and leave the constant where they're at. And how I decide on which I'm going to do is I look right here. And right now my a value is negative, but I know that I need my a value to be a whole number. So if a would have been positive, I would have kept it where it was. But because a is negative, I automatically know I need it to become positive anyway. So let's go ahead and move the 3x to the other side. So now I've got 3x plus 4y equals 4. And now I have it in standard form. All right, let's go ahead and try this next one. So I have a line that passes through these 2 points. I notice that one of the points is the y-intercept. Now, my other point is the x-intercept, but I can't do anything with the x-intercept, but I do know how to find the slope if I have to. So I'm going to go ahead and find the slope, which would be y minus y over x minus x. So that's going to be 3 over 6, which is 1/2. Okay, now that I have it in y-intercept and slope, I can write an equation. Y equals 1/2 x minus 3. Okay, that is in slope-intercept form. But my directions told me they want everything to be in standard form. You can never go directly from standard form. FYI, standard form is something you can change into another form. Standard form is something you can end with. Standard form will never be something that if I'm given 2 points, I can go directly to standard form. I just want to make sure that's clear. So again, Mrs. Stroll notices I have fractions. So the first thing I'm going to do is multiply everything by 2. So now I have 2y equals 1x minus 6. Again, I notice that my a value is positive. So I want to keep a where it is. That means I want to move the 2y to this side, and I'm going to want to move the 6 to the other side. So I'm going to have my 1x, which I really don't need to write the 1. To move a positive 2y to the other side, I'm going to minus 2y. And a negative 6, when it moves to the other side, will become a positive 6. And now I have it in standard form. No fractions, no decimals. X and y are on the same side. My a value is a whole number, and my b and c value are integers. So that's a little bit of practice with equation manipulation. We will keep working on that throughout the entire rest of the year. And that's the end of today's notes.